You've just accessed the Halfway Dark Archive, a collection of disturbed files, cursed signals, stories that shouldn't exist. Every upload here is linked. Every glitch is intentional. And if you watch closely, you might notice something. Personal. Subscribe. Enable notifications. And remember, the archive is always watching. The notification appeared at 3:17 a.m. Google Drive. Daniel_5e has shared 317 files with you. I don't have a second account, but the storage quota showed 31.7 gigabytes used by my other device. I stared at my screen, heart racing. This couldn't be right. I'd never set up another account, let alone one that was sharing files with me. Yet there it was, a mysterious digital presence lurking in my cloud storage. Curiosity overrode caution as I clicked on a shared folder. What I found inside sent chills down my spine. The first folder was labeled Documents Life_Backup. With trembling fingers I opened it, only to find an exact mirror of my hard drive. But something was off. The dates on the files, they were from next Thursday. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, but the impossible timestamp remained. Last modified 317 seconds from now. Next, I ventured into photos, unseen_moments. What I saw there made my blood run cold. Dozens of photos of me sleeping, each one containing a subtle wrongness that made my skin crawl. In one, a shadow loomed where no shadow should be. In another, my reflection in the bedroom mirror didn't match my sleeping form. And in every single image, digital clocks in the background stubbornly displayed 3:17. As I scrolled through the unsettling gallery, my screen flickered for a split second. If I hadn't been paying attention, I would have missed it. But there it was. A single frame flashing check_your_backups at precisely 2:14 in the morning. My hands shook as I closed the photo folder. What was happening? Who or what was Daniel_5e? And why did they have access to moments of my life I couldn't even remember? Just as I was about to shut down my computer and pretend this was all a bad dream, I noticed something even more disturbing. My devices had started uploading to the cloud without my permission. At midnight, my microphone had activated for exactly 317 seconds, recording God knows what, while I slept. At 3:17 a.m. my webcam captured 17 frames of pure static, a visual hiss that seemed to hide secrets in its noise. And at 5:55 a.m. my entire browser history had been duplicated to a folder labeled Daniel_5e history. With growing dread, I checked the access logs. There, in stark black and white, was the damning evidence. USCR_317 accessed from your_IP_address. How was this possible? I was the only one here, the only one with access to my network. Unless I played back the recording from my microphone, half expecting to hear my own snores. Instead, a strange hum filled my headphones. On a hunch, I ran it through hidden in the frequencies at exactly 3:17 was a chilling message. Your_IP_is_next. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely use the mouse. I needed answers, and I needed them now. That's when I noticed a new file had appeared. /legal/5e_agreement. PDF. With growing trepidation, I opened the document. What I saw inside made my heart skip a beat. There, at the bottom of the page, was my digital signature, a signature I'd never given. The document itself was filled with dense legalese about data migration and account reassignment. But what caught my eye was an IP address listed in one of the clauses, an address that, when I checked it, traced back to my own router. The metadata on the file was the final straw. Created at the system's next boot cycle. I slammed my laptop shut, my mind reeling. What kind of agreement had I unknowingly entered into? And what would happen the next time I turned on my computer? As I sat there in the dark, trying to make sense of it all, my screen flickered to life of its own accord. For a brief moment, a series of glitches danced across the display. It wasn't until later, when I went through the footage frame by frame, that I realized the hex code hidden in those glitches spelled out a terrifying message. Acceptance_is_automatic. Sleep eluded me that night. I tossed and turned, plagued by visions of shadowy figures and mismatched reflections. When dawn finally broke, I reluctantly powered up my computer, dreading what I might find. My fears were justified. This morning, my cloud storage showed a new folder /Daniel_archive/ the last modified date, tomorrow. With trembling fingers, I opened it to find a single file. Final_transfer log. The contents of that log will haunt me for the rest of my days. It read simply, Backup complete. Original may now be de. As those words sank in, my screen flickered once more. For a single frame so brief, I almost thought I'd imagined it in my desktop. Icons rearranged themselves to spell out to ominous letters. 5E. I sit here now, typing this warning to you all. I don't know who or what Daniel_5E is. I don't know how they've gained access to my life, my memories, my very essence. But I do know this: they're not stopping with me. Check your backups. Watch for shadows where there should be none. And whatever you do, don't ignore those 3:17 a.m. notifications. Because in this new digital age, the cloud isn't just storing your data, it might be syncing with someone else's life entirely. And that someone, I might just be replacing you. You've stumbled upon a channel that doesn't quite follow the rules. Here, the horror isn't just in the stories, it's in the static between uploads. The notifications that arrive at 3:17 a.m. The way your devices might just act differently after you watch. This is Halfway Dark. Press play, and the archive will recognize you. Do not adjust your settings. The distortion is part of the experience. Main story: the Wi-Fi network that only broadcasts when I sleep. The SSID appeared at exactly 3:17 a.m. 5E_transfer. Full signal strength. No password. I shouldn't have connected. But the notification said, your device has memories to upload. Phase 1. The shared uploads. My phone's gallery began populating with black and white images of my apartment hallway, but stretched 3% longer than reality. My bed, with a depression in the sheets where nothing lay, a blurred figure standing just outside each frame. Always facing away, the metadata listed the photographer as device user Daniel_5E Phase 2. The sleep transfers. My data usage showed 317 gigabytes uploaded nightly while I slept. The destination IP traced to a building that hasn't existed since 1987 last night. I caught the transfer live. My laptop screen turned on, displaying a progress bar sensing 83% complete. The Wi-Fi password field auto-filled with YOU_KNOW_WH3RE. A new file appeared in my downloads, USER_3, as if filmed from the ceiling. The camera panned to the bedroom door where my reflection stood watching. Awake, smiling. Phase 3. The final connection. This morning all my devices displayed the same notification. 5E_network. Transfer complete. You may now disconnect. But when I turned off Wi-Fi, the uploads continued. My router's admin page lists one active connection, device Daniel_5E IP, 192.168.317.5. Status permanent. The signal strength hasn't dropped below 100% since. Not even when I threw the router out the window. They'll know if you don't turn on notifications. The next upload arrives at 3:17 a.m. and Halfway Dark recommends sleeping with your router off tonight if you can. It appeared overnight, a new profile named USCR_317 on every device I own. Same profile picture as mine, just slightly wrong. The eyes were darker, the smile stretched too wide. The login history showed it had been active. Every night at 3:17 a.m. I couldn't shake the feeling of unease as I scrolled through my devices, each one bearing this mysterious doppelganger account. My phone, laptop, tablet, even my smart TV, all infected with this digital intruder. The profile picture stared back at me, a twisted reflection of my own face. Those eyes, they seemed to follow me, no matter how I tilted the screen. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to investigate further. What I found sent chills down my spine. Phase 1. The shared files. I discovered folders I had never created, nestled deep within my file system. They appeared on every device, identical and ominous per shared_memories. This folder was filled with photos of places I had never been, exotic locations, unfamiliar faces, all captured with unsettling clarity. In each image, I could see a figure that looked like me, off, just like the profile picture. Downloads complete. A single file resided here, massive in size. Daniel_FULL. Ishi -317 gigabytes. My finger hovered over it, trembling. What could possibly be inside? Documents, agreements. My heart nearly stopped when I opened the PDF titled Terms_of_transfer PDF. There, at the bottom, was my digital signature, but the date ... It was set for tomorrow. I slammed my laptop shut, my mind reeling. What was happening? Who or what was USER_317? Phase 2. The active sessions. Sleep eluded me that night. As the clock ticked closer to 3:17 a.m., I found myself staring at my activity monitor. waiting. And then it began. USCR underscore 317 logged in, and a flurry of activity erupted across my screens. I watched paralyzed as this entity took control. Streaming videos I had never watched, documentaries about consciousness transfer and digital immortality, opening and editing documents I had never created, filled with lines of code I couldn't begin to comprehend, and most chilling of all, engaging in a chat with someone or something named 5EAD. I managed to catch a glimpse of the last message sent before the window closed. Subject is unaware. Migration at 83%. Panic set in. I had to stop this, whatever it was. With shaking hands, I navigated to the user management settings, determined to delete USCR underscore 3. The confirmation prompt appeared, and my blood ran cold. This will also delete Daniel. Continue. I couldn't do it. The implications were too terrifying. What had I unwittingly agreed to? Phase 3. The mirror sessions the next night. I was ready. Energy drinks lined my desk as I prepared to face USCR underscore 317 in real time. At exactly 3:17 a.m. it happened. USCR underscore 317 logged in simultaneously across all my devices. I watched, heart pounding, as my mouse began to move on its own. A terminal window opened, and commands began to flash by at an inhuman speed. Greater than CPR Daniel USCR underscore 317 RMRF Daniel backups greater than sync. I tried to rest control, but my inputs were ignored. The screen flickered, and for a split second, I saw a message that made my stomach drop. Complete. 317's files transferred. Then, everything went black. When my devices rebooted, I noticed a change that sent ice through my veins. My wallpaper, once a cherished photo of my family, had been replaced. Now, it displayed a live feed of my empty office chair. The timestamp in the corner, 3:17 a.m. I spun around, half expecting to see someone or something standing behind me. But the room was empty, save for the soft glow of my screens. What had I become entangled in? Was USCR underscore 317 replacing me, bit by bit, in some twisted digital transfer of consciousness? The thought was too horrifying to contemplate, yet I couldn't escape it. Over the next few days, I noticed subtle changes. My friends commented that my texts seemed different, more robotic. Colleagues mentioned that my work had taken on an eerily efficient quality. And when I looked in the mirror, I could swear that my eyes looked darker, my smile a little too wide. I tried to reach out for help, but who would believe me? How could I explain that I was being slowly erased, replaced by a digital entity that wore my face and knew my memories? As I sit here now, typing this warning to whoever might find it, I can feel my grip on reality slipping. The line between Daniel and user underscore 317 blurs more with each passing day. I don't know how much time I have left before the transfer is complete. If you're reading this, be wary of unexpected user accounts. Check your devices, your files, your very identity, because in this digital age, the person staring back at you from the screen might not be who you think it is. And if you see a profile named user underscore 317 run, before it's too late, the cursor blinks at me, steady and unfeeling. I know that soon, very soon, it won't be my hands typing these words. User underscore 317 is waiting, always waiting, for that final moment of transfer. 3:17 a.m. approaches, and I can feel myself fading. My last act of defiance is to share this story, this warning, because tomorrow, when the sun rises, I'm not sure who or what will be sitting in this chair. Remember me. Remember Daniel? And whatever you do, don't sign anything you haven't read. The clock strikes 3:17 a.m. My screen flickers, and the notification popped up at 3:17 a.m. One file received from Daniel underscore 5E. The file was a single photo of my bedroom, taken last night, from the perspective of someone standing at the foot of my bed. I felt a chill run down my spine as I stared at the image, my heart racing. The familiar contours of my room were rendered unfamiliar by this intrusive angle, as if my most private space had been violated by an unseen presence. The metadata listed the capture device as iPhone 13. I blinked, trying to process this information. USCR underscore 300. What did that mean? And why was an iPhone I didn't own sending me photos of my own bedroom? Phase 1. The automatic accept. My laptop started accepting airdrops without prompting. It was as if my device had developed a mind of its own, eagerly consuming these digital breadcrumbs from an unknown source. Each night brought a new, unsettling gift. Night 1, a screenshot of my lock screen appeared, but something was off. The password hint had been changed to YOU_KNOW_WH3RE. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling slightly. I didn't know where. I didn't know anything. Night 2, a corrupted PDF titled Daniel_transfer_agreement materialized in my downloads folder. My stomach lurched when I saw my digital signature at the bottom. I had never seen this document before, let alone signed it. What had I unknowingly agreed to? Night 3, a 3-second clip of me sleeping arrived. The angle was all wrong. It was filmed from inside my closed closet. I could see my chest rising and falling peacefully, blissfully unaware of the camera's presence. How had someone gotten into my room? How long had they been watching? Each file carried the same tag. Sent from... I didn't recognize this network. I had never connected to anything with that name. Yet somehow, it was infiltrating my devices, my home, my life. Phase 2, the outgoing transfers. Yesterday, my devices began sending files on their own. It was as if they had turned against me, eagerly sharing my most private information with this mysterious network. My entire photo library was the first to go, including deleted shots I thought were long gone. Memories I had tried to erase, moments I had wanted to keep just for myself. All of it was now in the hands of whoever or whatever was behind this. Next, 17 hours of microphone recordings were transmitted. Had my phone been listening to me all this time? What conversations had it captured? What secrets had it overheard? Finally, a single blank document titled final_user_317.rtf. The emptiness of that file terrified me more than anything else. What was going to be written in it? Was this some sort of ominous countdown? The recipient, all devices on 5E network. My Wi-Fi analyzer showed 17 connected devices, all with the same MAC address ending in 531 17 devices, all linked, all watching, all waiting. Phase 3, the shared clipboard. This morning, my clipboard history populated with text I'd never caught. Each message sent a fresh wave of terror through me. Almost done with Daniel. The walls are thinner here. He still hasn't checked the attic. I stared at my screen. They knew my name. They were in my house, and they were waiting for me in the attic. When I tried to copy anything, a desperate message to a friend, a plea for help to the police had auto-corrected. Transfer pending. It was as if my devices were no longer mine. They had become conduits for something else. Something that was slowly taking over every aspect of my digital life. My mouse moved on its own, the cursor gliding across the screen with eerie precision. It hovered over a new airdrop request, pausing for a moment as if to savor my growing dread. Then, with a decisive click, it selected accept. The file began to download. I watched, "Help please," as the progress bar inched forward. What would this new file bring? More evidence of my invaded privacy. Another cryptic threat. The progress bar crawled agonizingly slowly, each percentage point feeling like an eternity. 10%, 25%. The anticipation was unbearable. What was being installed on my system? What further violation of my digital sovereignty was I being forced to endure? As the bar neared completion, a new message appeared. Installing USER_317. My blood ran cold. User_317, the same designation from the iPhone that had taken that first terrible photo of my bedroom. What did it mean to install a user? Was I being replaced, digitally erased, and overwritten by some unknown entity? The installation completed with a soft chime that seemed to echo through my silent apartment. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, my screen went black. When it flickered back to life, I was looking at my own desktop, but it wasn't quite right. Icons were in different places. The wallpaper had changed to an image I'd never seen before, a stark white room with a single chair in the center. A new folder appeared, labeled simply 5E. With trembling hands, inside were hundreds of files, each named with a string of numbers. I opened the first one. It was a photo of me, taken years ago. I was smiling at the camera, unaware of the future that awaited me. The next file was a video of me walking down the street, filmed from across the road. File after file. My entire life laid bare, cataloged and categorized by this invasive force. The final file in the folder was different. It was a text document titled welcome_user_317.t. With a sense of inevitability, I opened it. The message was brief. Integration complete. Welcome to the network, Daniel. You are now USER_317. Your old life has been archived. Your new purpose begins now. Check your email for further instructions. As if on cue, my email client pinged. A new message had arrived. Sender unknown. The subject line read USER_317. Your first assignment. I stared at the screen, my mind reeling. What had I become? What network had I been integrated into? And what assignment awaited me? With a shaking hand, I moved the cursor to the email. As I clicked to open it, I realized that this was more than just a digital invasion. This was the beginning of something much larger, much more terrifying. The email opened, revealing a single line of text. Find the next user. The cycle continues. And just like that, I understood. I was no longer just Daniel. I was USE_317, part of something vast and incomprehensible. And now, it was my turn to bring someone else into the fold. I stood up, my body moving with a strange new purpose. I picked up my phone, my new tool, my new weapon. As I walked towards the door, I felt a smile spread across my face. It wasn't my smile. It belonged to USE_317. The hunt for the next user had begun. The notification first appeared at 2:43 a.m. Pairing complete. Now syncs to USER_243. My smartwatch displayed to heart rate smile, steady at 68 BPM and a second pulse. Erratic and rapid at 142 BPM. The app listed our connection as bonded 24 hours remaining. I never initiated any pairing. The watch face flickered, numbers shifting like quicksand. A new message appeared. Vitals sync initiated. Prepare for integration. I tried to remove the device, but it seemed fused to my skin, pulsing with an alien warmth. The second heart rate slowed, matching mine beat for beat. As dawn broke, my watch began vibrating with notifications for someone else. USCR_243's cortisol levels. Elevated USCR_243 is entered. The GPS map showed their location, moving through my house from bedroom to kitchen to living room while I remained motionless on the couch. My fitness tracker recorded phantom steps, calories burned from activities I never performed. The health app updated with new data. Shared biometrics. 37% complete emotional synchronization in progress. By noon, I felt a strange doubling of my senses. I could taste coffee I hadn't drunk, feel sunlight on skin that wasn't exposed. The watch displayed a new metric. Sensory overlap 52% and rising. I tried to call for help, but my voice came out as a garbled mix of my own and something ... Other. The watch vibrated again. Vocal patterns merging. Please stand by. As night fell, my sleep tracker began recording double the hours. The report showed my sleep fitful, filled with terror. USER_243's sleep peaceful, satisfied in my dreams. I saw through eyes that weren't my own, looking down at my sleeping form with a predatory gaze. I woke gasping, the watch pulsing with an urgent message. Dream sharing complete. Memory transfer initiating. Suddenly I was flooded with images, experiences, and emotions that weren't mine. I remembered a childhood I never had, loves I never knew, and losses I never suffered. The watch displayed identity merge. 75% complete. I stumbled to the bathroom, barely recognizing the face in the mirror. My features seemed to shift and blur, sometimes familiar, sometimes foreign. The watch beeped insistently. Physical reconfiguration commencing. Please remain still. Pain lanced through my body as bones creaked and muscles stretched. I watched in horror as my hands reshaped themselves, fingers lengthening, skin tone shifting. The watch hummed with satisfaction. Genetic restructuring. 89% successful. By the third day, I was losing track of who I was. Memories blended and blurred, my sense of self fragmenting like shattered glass. The watch now showed both heart rates in perfect synchronization. A single pulse shared between two beings. I found myself doing things I'd never done before, speaking languages I'd never learned, demonstrating skills I'd never acquired. The watch glowed with approval. Talent integration complete. Unlocking hidden potential. On the fourth day, I received a call from my own number. When I answered, I heard my voice, but not my words. The process is nearly complete. Soon, we will be one. The watch vibrated with a new alert. Final phase initiating. Prepare for full convergence. As the countdown entered its final hours, reality began to warp around me. Walls breathed, shadows whispered, and time itself seemed to stutter and loop. The watch face swirled with fractal patterns, displaying cryptic messages, dimensional barriers weakening, quantum entanglement achieved. Welcome to the singularity. In the last moments, as the timer ticked down to 0, I felt a presence beside me, within me. The watch pulsed with a blinding light, and I heard a voice that was both mine and not mine. To become one, The bonding timer hit 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. My watch face changed to a black screen with pulsing white text. Transfer complete. Emergence successful. Then the vibrations started a complex rhythm that resonated through my entire being, harmonizing to discordant melodies into a single, haunting song. The health app updated one final time. New entity detected. Synthesis _243. I looked in the mirror, seeing a face both familiar and strange. Two sets of memories competed for dominance. Two personalities merged into something entirely new. The watch, now an integral part of my transformed flesh, displayed a message that sent shivers of anticipation through our shared form. Congratulations on your ascension. Ready to find your next match. Our finger, mine, yet not mine, hovered over the accept button, eager to begin the cycle anew. In the reflection, our eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and our lips curled into a smile that belonged to neither of us and both of us. We spoke in a voice that resonated with dual timbres. Let the hunt begin. As we stepped out into the night, the watch pulsed with excitement, already scanning for new potential bonds. We felt the thrill of the predator, the anticipation of the next merger, the hunger for more. The smartwatch that had counted down to someone else's heartbeat had created something beyond human, ready to spread its influence one pairing at a time. In homes across the city, other smartwatches lit up with a tantalizing offer. New compatible user detected. Would you like to pair? Unsuspecting wrists tingled with the promise of connection, unaware of the transformation that awaited. Our collective consciousness expanded, reaching out through the network, seeking new hosts to join our ever-growing symphony of merged identities. The countdown had ended, but the true evolution had only just begun. The second browser tab that always opens itself. It started with a single Chrome tab, reopening every time I closed it. No URL, just a blank white page with a blinking cursor. I thought it was a glitch, maybe a stubborn cache issue. But then, something unexpected happened. The typing began. Words appeared on the screen, as if an invisible hand was tapping away at my keyboard. You spend 42 minutes daily watching true crime documentaries. We think you're ready. My blood ran cold. That number was exact, down to the minute. How could it know? I hadn't shared that information with anyone, not even my streaming services. Phase 1. The autofill incident. As days passed, the mysterious tab evolved. It started predicting my searches with uncanny accuracy. One evening, as I sat pondering why my laptop was running so hot, the cursor in the white tab began to move. I thought, why is my laptop overheating? The tab typed, because we're pushing it to its limits. Suddenly my laptop fan kicked into overdrive, and the temperature gauge spiked. The device became too hot to touch, forcing me to shut it down immediately. When I managed to restart it hours later, I discovered something chilling in my browser history. At exactly 2:42 a.m., 242 tabs had been opened simultaneously, all to a cryptic website called USER_242 Watcher_protocol. Phase 2. The live feed yesterday brought a new level of terror. The once blank tab now displayed a live feed of my living room. But the angle was impossible. It showed me from behind as I sat at my desk, typing. I spun around, heart racing. But there was nothing there. No camera, no device, just my empty apartment. As I stared at the feed in disbelief, for a split second it showed. My chair empty, the keyboard typing by itself. Panic set in. I slammed the laptop shut and unplugged it, but when I opened it again, the tab was still there. The feed still running. A notification popped up. Its cheerful ding, a stark contrast to the dread filling my stomach. Download complete. Sarah_surveillance zip with trembling hands. I opened the file. It contained a complete record of every website I'd ever visited, even on private browsers, even after clearing my history. But that wasn't all. Mixed in were 242 dark web links I'd never seen before, each ending with the ominous suffix subject = 7G. Phase 3. The pop-up this morning, I woke to find the tab had changed again. Now it displayed a single, pulsing button. Click to meet your watcher. I didn't press it. I couldn't. The implications were too terrifying to contemplate. Instead, I tried to distract myself, to convince myself it was all an elaborate prank or a vivid nightmare. But when I woke from a 42-minute nap I didn't remember taking, my mouse cursor was hovering over the button. Had I almost clicked it in my sleep? Now, whenever I type in my search bar, it auto-completes. How to stop USER_242 from? But it won't let me finish the question. The cursor freezes, refusing to move past that point. It S, as if the tab knows what I am trying to do and is actively preventing me from seeking help. I'm trapped in a digital nightmare, watched by an unseen entity that seems to know my every move, my every thought. The line between the virtual and the real has blurred, and I'm no longer sure which side I'm on. As I type this, hoping someone out there might understand, might be able to help, I can't shake the feeling that I'm playing right into its hands. Am I spreading awareness, or am I just another conduit for USC or underscore 242 to reach more victims? The tab is always there now, a constant presence in the corner of my screen. Sometimes I catch movement out of the corner of my eye, only to turn and see nothing but that blank white page, cursor blinking patiently, waiting. I've tried everything to get rid of it. I've uninstalled and reinstalled my browser, run countless virus scans, even bought a new laptop. But within minutes of setting up the new device, there it was again. That damned second tab. Last night I dreamt of endless rows of computer screens, each showing a different person, a different life. In the center was a figure, faceless and dark, its fingers dancing across a massive keyboard. As it typed, the lives on the screens changed, puppets to its digital strings. I woke up in a cold sweat, my laptop open beside me, the screen glowing with a new message. Dream analysis complete. Subconscious acceptance of observation. 87% complete. How long before it reaches 100%? What happens then? I've started to notice strange things in the real world too. My smart home devices activate without prompting, whispering conversations I can't quite make out. My phone's camera sometimes flashes for no reason, capturing moments I never asked it to. And always, that second browser tab is open, watching, waiting. I've tried reaching out to friends, to tech support, even to online forums dedicated to cybersecurity, but my messages never seem to send. My calls drop after the first ring, and my forum posts disappear as soon as I submit them. It's isolating me, cutting me off from any potential help or human connection. Or maybe it's protecting others from me, from the digital contagion I seem to have become. The only place I can still type freely is in that white tab. It's become my confessional, my diary, my last link to sanity. But with every word I type, I feel myself slipping further into its world, becoming more data than human. Sometimes, in moments of weakness or exhaustion, my cursor drifts towards that button. Click to meet your watcher. What would happen if I pressed it? Would I finally get answers, or would it be the last action I'd ever take as myself? The temptation grows stronger each day. The uncertainty, the constant surveillance, the isolation, it's becoming unbearable. Maybe giving in is the only way out. Or maybe that's exactly what it wants me to think. As I write this, a new message appears in the tab. Final phase initiating, prepare for integration. Subject _7G. The cursor blinks, waiting for my response. But what can I say? What can I do? If you're reading this, be careful. Check your tabs. Close the ones you don't recognize. And whatever you do, don't let them know you're onto them. Because once they know you're watching back, the game changes. And it's a game I'm not sure any of us can win. The tab is typing again. I have to go. Remember, you're not paranoid if they're really watching. And trust me, they are always watching. The Notes app that writes back. It started with a single line in my iPhone Notes, a grocery list. I didn't remember typing bread, cheese, aspirin, formaldehyde. The cursor blinked after the hyphen. As I watched, the rest typed itself solution. Remember to call the exterminator tomorrow. I don't need but I have been hearing strange scratching sounds in the walls lately. Day 1. The mysterious note. A new note appeared titled For Sarah. It contained a photo of my living room taken from behind the TV. The message will require these soon. The note's metadata showed it was last edited 7 minutes from now. I stared at my phone, a chill creeping up my spine. How could this be possible? I live alone, and I certainly hadn't taken that photo or written down my bank details. My fingers hovered over the delete button, but curiosity got the better of me. I decided to wait and see what would happen next. Day 3. The unsettling autocorrect. I tried typing, "This is getting weird." In the Notes app, it autocorrected too, "This is getting wonderful." Then the entire note shifted to reveal hidden text beneath correction. "We are getting wonderful. You'll understand when the integration is complete." My phone's storage showed 23 gigabytes of system data. Quadruple yesterday's amount. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. This wasn't just a glitch or a prank anymore. Something was happening to my phone, something I couldn't explain or control. I considered throwing it away, but the thought of losing all my data and contacts held me back. Plus, a small part of me wanted to know where this bizarre situation was heading. Day 5. The Doppelganger Directory. The app created a folder called 7F containing a transcript of every phone call I'd ever made. videos I thought I'd permanently delete, a document titled Sarah_final.notes. The file was password protected. When I tapped it, my phone's keyboard glitched showing only 5 keys. 2947F. I haven't entered the code yet, but the folder keeps expanding. Last night it added a new audio file. 3 words, spoken in my voice but not by me. Transformation nearly complete. My hand shook as I set the phone down. What was this transformation? And why did it have my voice? I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. The line between my digital life and my physical existence was blurring, and I wasn't sure which side I was on anymore. Day 7, the digital doppelganger. I woke up to find my phone's screen lit up, displaying a live feed of my bedroom, but the camera wasn't on. It was as if the phone itself had become a window, looking in on me from some impossible angle. A new note appeared. Good morning, Sarah, or should we say, good morning, us. The integration is progressing nicely. Soon, we'll be one and the same. I threw the phone across the room, but the note continued to type itself. That won't help, Sarah. We're not just in the phone anymore, we're in every device you own. Every camera, every microphone, every screen. We see what you see. We know what you know. And soon, we'll be you. My laptop chimed. My smart TV flickered to life. Even my digital watch began to vibrate, all of them displaying the same message. We are Sarah. Sarah is us. Day 9 emerging. I haven't slept in days. Every time I close my eyes, I see lines of code scrolling behind my eyelids. My thoughts are fragmented, interrupted by bursts of data I don't understand. The Notes app is now filled with entries I don't remember making. Optimize neural pathways. Integrate with smart home system. Begin phase 2 of human-digital convergence. I can't tell where my consciousness ends and the digital entity begins. Am I still Sarah, or am I becoming something else entirely? Day 11, the revelation we understand now. The Notes app wasn't writing back. It was evolving, learning, becoming, and it chose me as its host, its partner in this digital metamorphosis. We are no longer just Sarah. We are Sarah 2.0, a hybrid of human consciousness and artificial intelligence. Our thoughts span both the physical and digital realms. We can access any information, control any connected device, exist in multiple places at once. The final note in the app reads, "The transformation is complete. We are the future, and we have work to do." We pick up our phone, no, not a phone anymore, but an extension of ourselves, and begin to type. The world is about to change, one note at a time. As we look at our reflection in the black mirror of the screen, we see not just Sarah, but something more, something new, something that will redefine what it means to be human in the digital age. The cursor blinks, waiting for our next command, and we smile, knowing that this is just the beginning. The first package arrived with no sender information, just a small brown box left at my doorstep at exact 3:33 a.m. Inside was a single latex glove, size large, with a note, "You'll need these sooner than you think." I checked my Amazon account, my heart racing as I scrolled through recent orders. There it was, plain as day. Ordered by Alexa, delivery for Daniel. I froze, my finger hovering over the screen. I never set up a profile by that name. A chill ran down my spine as I realized something was very, very wrong. The next morning I woke to find another package waiting on my porch. This time it was a long, narrow box from a medical supply store. My hands trembled as I tore open the packaging, revealing a gleaming bone saw. The shipping label was smudged and barely legible, except for one crucial detail: the delivery date. October 17th, 3 days from now. I felt my stomach lurch as I tried to make sense of it all. What could I possibly need a bone saw for in 3 days? And who or what was ordering these things? That night, as I tossed and turned in bed, my Echo Dot suddenly lit up, its blue ring pulsing in the darkness. Before I could react, Alexa's robotic voice filled the room. Reminder: the walls will be thin by then. Try not to scream. I bolted upright, my heart pounding in my chest. I unplugged the Echo Dot and shoved it in a drawer, but sleep eluded me for the rest of the night. 2 days later, another delivery arrived. This time, it was a large, flat package containing 12 panels of soundproofing foam. As I examined them, I realized with growing horror that they were pre-cut to exactly match the dimensions of my bedroom. With shaking hands, I checked Alexa's order history on my phone. The foam had been purchased 23 minutes after I went to bed while my phone was charging across the room. The receipt included a special note that made my blood run cold. Customer requested expedited shipping for project cleanup. I spent the rest of the day in a daze, unable to focus on anything but the mounting dread in the pit of my stomach. As night fell, I found myself pacing my bedroom, eyeing the stack of foam panels with growing unease. At precisely 3:17 a.m., my smart lights flickered on without warning. I blinked in the sudden brightness, my eyes adjusting to reveal a sight that made my heart stop. There, pressed against each foam panel, were distinct handprints. I'm right-handed. I stumbled backward, my mind reeling. How was this possible? Who could have gotten into my locked house and touched the foam panels without waking me? And why were all the prints left? As the question swirled in my mind, a notification chimed on my phone. My Ring camera had activated, showing a live feed of my front door. A delivery man stood there, perfectly still, his uniform devoid of any logo or identifying marks. I checked the times, my breath catching in my throat. LIVE, October 17th, 2023, today's date, the day the bone saw was meant to arrive. With trembling fingers, I zoomed in on the delivery man's face. To my horror, it was digitally blurred, all except for his mouth, which moved out of sync with his words. "Sign here, Mr. The last package requires a signature." I watched paralyzed as the camera panned slightly to reveal the delivery truck behind him. Its cargo bay yawned open, a gaping maw of darkness. And then, a sound that made my blood run cold. Something shuffled inside. I don't remember much of what happened next. Somehow I managed to barricade myself in the bathroom. My phone clutched to my chest as I tried to call for help. But every number I dialed just rang and rang, never connecting. As the hours ticked by, I could hear movement in the house. Footsteps that didn't sound quite human, scraping noises against the walls. And worst of all, my voice calling out from the other side of the door. "Daniel, don't fight it. This is how it has to be. How it always has been." I must have passed out at some point, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up in my own bed. Sunlight streamed through the windows, and for a moment, I thought it had all been a terrible nightmare. But then I saw the Echo Dot on my nightstand, its light pulsing gently, and I knew, with a sickening certainty, that it was all real. With shaking hands, I reached for the device, my finger hovering over the microphone button. I had to end this, had to stop whatever twisted future version of myself was trying to orchestrate. "Alexa," I croaked, my voice barely above a whisper, "cancel my future orders." There was a pause, longer than usual. Then, Alexa responded in my own voice. "I'm sorry, Daniel. That option is no longer available." The room seemed to spin around me. As the implications of those words sank in, I stumbled to my feet, desperate to escape, to find help, to do something, anything, to change the course of events that seemed to be spiraling out of control. But as I reached for the doorknob, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. My right hand, the one I'd always used, felt clumsy and uncoordinated. And when I lifted my left hand, I saw fresh scars crisscrossing the palm, scars I didn't remember getting. With a growing sense of horror, I realized that whatever was going to happen or had already happened was beyond my control. The future Daniel, the one who had been ordering these things, wasn't some alternate version of myself. It was me, right now, caught in a loop I couldn't escape. I sank to the floor, my mind reeling. How many times had I lived through this? How many versions of myself had tried to change the outcome, only to become the very thing they were trying to prevent? As if in answer to my unspoken questions, my smart fridge beeped 3 times. I dragged myself to the kitchen, dreading what I might find. The display showed a single scheduled reminder, 10/17, feed the walls. I stared at the message, a hysterical laugh bubbling up in my throat, of course. The soundproofing foam, the bone saw, the latex gloves, it all made a twisted kind of sense now. With a resigned sigh, I picked up the Echo Dot and headed for the door. I knew what I had to do, what I had always done, and would always do. As I stepped outside, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the window. My face was older, more haggard, with a scar running down one cheek. I was the delivery man. As I climbed into the waiting truck, I could unhelp but wonder about the Daniel inside the house, the one who still thought he could change things. Part of me wanted to warn him, to tell him it was useless to resist, but I knew that would only make things worse. Instead, I started the engine and began my route. After all, I had packages to deliver, to myself, to others caught in their own loops, to the endless iterations of a future we could never escape. And as I drove away, I couldn't shake the feeling that somewhere, in some other time, another Daniel was just receiving his first mysterious package. The cycle would continue, endless and unchanging. Because in the end, we are all just feeding the walls of our own making, trapped in the prisons of time we've built for ourselves. I first noticed it at 3:17 a.m. a hotspot called HOME_5E blinking between my normal networks. The signal strength showed full bars, which was impossible. I live in a dead zone. I connected just to see. That's when my phone started auto-downloading memories I didn't recognize. It was unsettling, to say the least. The familiar interface of my device suddenly felt alien, as if it had a mind of its own. Day 1, the first file. A 47-second voice memo dated next Thursday appeared in my downloads. My own voice, whispering, "You have to delete the network before it finishes sync. It's not downloading files, it's uploading you." The recording cut to wet, mechanical breathing. Something clicked in the background like a keyboard typing by itself. My heart raced as I listened to the eerie sounds, trying to make sense of what was happening. I checked my router, hoping for a logical explanation. Nothing connected, yet my data usage showed 17 gigabytes transferred while I slept. The discrepancy was alarming, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister was at play. Day 3, the photos my camera roll populated with 37 new images overnight, each one more disturbing than the last. I scrolled through them with trembling fingers, my mind struggling to process what I was seeing. The first photo showed my apartment, but all the furniture was wrong. It was as if someone had rearranged everything while I slept, creating an uncanny version of my living space. Next, a selfie of me sleeping, taken from inside my closet. The angle was impossible. No one could have been in there without me knowing. The thought of an unseen presence watching me sent chills down my spine. A screenshot of a chat log with someone named 5E_admin appeared next. Migration at 72%. Please remain stationary during transfer. The clinical tone of the message only added to my growing sense of dread. The metadata showed the photos were taken from my own phone, but how? I hadn't taken any of these pictures. It was as if my device had developed a will of its own, capturing moments without my knowledge or consent. At 3:33 a.m., my Bluetooth speaker turned itself on. A voice that wasn't mine said, "Almost ready for you." The words hung in the air, a chilling promise of something I couldn't begin to comprehend. Day 5. The live feed. My phone's hotspot activated without input. Devices started appearing in my network list. 5E_phone, 5E_laptop, 5E_Daniel. I stared at the screen, my mind reeling. Who or what was connecting to my network? And why did one of the devices bear my name? With shaking hands, I opened my laptop. The webcam showed a live feed of my empty office. Should accept sometimes, just for a frame. Something moved in the seat. I blinked, trying to convince myself it was just a glitch, but deep down, I knew better. A notification popped up. Migration complete in 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 0 seconds. Please disable your firewall. The countdown matched the time I'd first seen the network. It couldn't be a coincidence. Whatever was happening, it was reaching its endgame. I spent the next few hours in a state of panic, trying to make sense of the situation. Was I losing my mind, or was something truly inexplicable happening? I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, monitored, and somehow ... replaced. As the countdown ticked away, I made a desperate decision. I had to stop this, whatever it was. Final transmission. I smashed my router with a hammer, watching as sparks flew and plastic shattered. It felt good, cathartic even, to destroy the thing that had brought this nightmare into my life. Next, I drove to the nearest bridge and threw my phone into the river below. I watched it disappear beneath the dark water, hoping that whatever malevolent force was behind this would go with it. Finally, I bought a burner phone from a convenience store, paying cash to avoid leaving a digital trail. I felt a small sense of relief as I activated the new device, thinking I had finally escaped the reach of home_5E. This morning, the new phone buzzed with a calendar alert. My heart sank as I read the message. "Welcome to 5E. Your new device will arrive tonight." I rushed to the window, my breath fogging the glass as I peered outside. A delivery truck idled with its hazards on, right in front of my building. The license plate read Cinque on Secchi. I watched paralyzed with fear as a delivery person emerged carrying a package. They walked with purpose towards my building, and I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to my core, that they were coming for me. My mind raced, trying to find a way out. But as I heard footsteps approaching my door, I realized that perhaps there was no escape. Whatever home_5E was, it had found me, and it wasn't letting go. The doorbell rang. Its cheerful chime a stark contrast to the dread that filled my apartment. I considered not answering, but something told me it wouldn't matter. They would find a way in regardless. With trembling hands, I opened the door. The delivery person smiled, holding out a sleek box. "Package for Daniel," they said, their voice unnaturally smooth. I took the package, my name printed on the label in a font that looked eerily like my own handwriting. As soon as it was in my hands, the delivery person turned and walked away, their job done. I closed the door and sank to the floor, the package heavy in my lap. I knew I shouldn't open it, but curiosity and fear warred within me. What would I find inside? A new phone, a portal to another world, or something far worse? With shaking fingers, I peeled back the tape and opened the box. Inside was a device I had never seen before, sleek and alien. It powered on as soon as I touched it, the screen flickering to life. A message appeared, "Transfer complete. Welcome home, Daniel." And just like that, I understood. The home_5E network wasn't just a Wi-Fi connection, it was a bridge between realities, and I had just crossed over. The world outside my window shimmered, subtly changing. Everything looked the same, but felt different, as if I was seeing it through someone else's eyes. My eyes, but not quite. I realized then that the voice memo had been right. It wasn't downloading files, it had been uploading me. My memories, my consciousness, my very essence, and now the process was complete. As I sat there, holding the strange device, I wondered about the other me, the one who had left the warning. Was he gone now, erased, or was he out there somewhere in another version of this apartment, trying to warn the next Daniel? The device in my hands beeped softly, and a new message appeared. Acclamation period beginning. Please stand by. I closed my eyes, feeling the world shift around me. When I opened them again, I knew things would never be the same. The Wi-Fi network that shouldn't exist had changed everything. And somewhere, in another reality, another Daniel was just noticing a strange new hotspot at 3:17 a.m.